4, we covered masks. So I'm going to do a quick demonstration of animating mask paths. There's also some samples I put from my professional work in the files folder for week 4 in Canvas. So I'm going to drag this image into my composition, and I'm going to scale it down a little bit just because it's bigger than the composition. I want you to be able to see something. I'm going to go over animating a mask path. So to create a mask, whatever you want to mask, first you have to make sure it's selected. You could either use the pen tool or any of the shape tools. For this, I'm just going to use the rectangle tool. Now, I'm going to zoom in right here to show you. In the masks twirl down, and then the next one below it is where you'll get all your options that you can animate over time. Mask path, mask feather, mask opacity, and mask expansion. There's details on each of those in the notes. So I'm going to click mask path to animate it. Right now it's a square. I'm just going to make it a rectangle, real simple over time. Just go to about here, add another keyframe. Now I'm going to alter the shape. Like that, and then I'll select these two right here. So now the shape is changing over time. That's one way to animate a mask path. I'm going to get rid of that information, and I'm going to go back to a square. And I'm going to center this square as best as I can, right about there. Okay, now I'm going to morph from a square to a star. I'll make the star a little bit bigger than a square, so it's growing in size and changing its shape. So I made this first mask just by using the shape tool and making a rectangle. Okay, that's no big deal, that's pretty easy. I'm going to make a keyframe right here for the mask path. This is going to remember that this is a square. So now I'm going to make sure my layer is still selected. Just going to hide this so you can see. A second mask is going to be made using the star tool. I'm going to do that right about here, and I'm going to move it to about right there. So it's roughly, you're going to see how these corners are going to grow out. So I'm going to click my mask path. So now I've got a keyframe remembering what that is. I'm going to delete that star because I don't need it anymore, because I've got the keyframe. So let's pretend over the course of 2 seconds I'm going to make my second path, but now I'm going to paste my star from the other layer, the keyframe. I just pasted it in there. Now you can see the mask is animating over time. Going from one shape to another is called tweening. This is an example of tweening with masks. So that's just using mask path. This button right here, we didn't get into it in class, but this is toggle mask and shape visibility. If I click that off, you're not going to see the path lines anymore. So you're just seeing the layer. Sometimes that helps when you're trying to move things precisely and you don't want the confusion of seeing the paths. But that's how you turn it back on, just by clicking it. It's right next to the time code. Now, we also covered mask feather and mask expansion. Mask feather is how soft the mask is going to be, or how hard. So now you can see it's no longer a hard shaped edge. It's got some feathering to it. Like that. And if I wanted this to grow out from the center, I would use my mask expansion. If I go, so I'm just going to make a path, make a keyframe, make another one, and just expand this out until it fills up the screen. That might be the highest I can go. Yeah. But then I can make a keyframe right here. If I make my mask path bigger, let's pretend I get an even bigger star. Let's just real quick. I only wanted 1 star. Now you go, that star is a lot bigger than the first one. So I'm going to click mask path, get the keyframe, copy it, delete the new star. Go to this keyframe where the mask path is, hit paste. Now watch the mask expansion. See that? So if I made that even bigger, then it'd fill up the edges. But you get the idea how sometimes you need to change the size or shape of your mask. And that's one way of doing it. If you look in the file I provided, you'll see how I did complex shapes with a lot of different masks. Another quick thing I want to point out, if you want to change the color of your mask, make this blue, and then the next mask you work on, say I want to add a ellipse. This one's blue, I can change the color of that one. Let's just say green. So now I can tell the difference between the 2 masks. It's just a fast way of working. I'm going to delete that. Another thing we went over in class, right here, in your mask, default's add. If I did subtract, you'll get a completely different result. See, now it's subtracting that part of the image. Or if I did invert, you'll get the opposite as well. So if I want to, I'm going to make one more mask. This one I'm going to make a circle, so just to show you the difference. Add is the default, so you're going to see that. So if I want to get rid of the circle and I do subtract, I now have a circle shape there, and I can animate that however I want. So that's just changing from add to subtract to cut out or add part of a mask. One more thing I'm going to show you before I close this out. I'm going to get rid of these masks. Okay, so we covered this in class. You could also make any shape you want with the type tool. Now remember, you don't want to click on the handles of the shape. For this one, I'm going to animate the mask across the screen. Feather, I'm going to a pretty high feather amount right here. Mask expansion from there to, let's just do 3 seconds just for now. And I'll do 1000 pixels. So as you can see, the shape is going to expand out in this direction as I animate, because I put it in that corner. If I change the position of my mask, I just made a keyframe to make it faster to select it. So if I do it from this corner, it's going to expand out from that corner. It's all where you place your mask and how you want to animate in your screen. So if I wanted to do this part of the corner, make sure it's selected, and I want the top part to come in next, we'll make another mask. Like I said before when we were talking about the end credits of the Sherlock Holmes movie, I'm going to have this come in a little bit later. So I'm going to give it a negative expansion. Oops, I'm on the wrong mask. So we're going to undo that. This is the mask I want. I'm going to change the color just so you can see more easily the blue one. Alright, mask expansion. We're going to start it at negative because the mask is too big. There we go. And then I'm going to have it come in 1000. And I'll feather it up just so you don't have this hard line right here. Now that's gone. So now, just press U to see my keyframes. Watch the shapes of the masks. They stay the same, but the masks are growing, and I keyframe them at different times to get different results of having the image come in. So you could also plan it that way for your animation hierarchy, adding mask upon mask, change the shape, the path, the expansion, the feather, whatever you want, and make your own custom transitions and animations